when this fake ceasefire stops, what's gonna happen? Am I gonna lose more people? Every single minute I was losing colleagues, family members, friends.
Yara Eid is a Palestinian journalist and human rights advocate from the Gaza Strip, where she grew up in the Burej refugee camp. In 2016, Yara left Gaza for the UK, where she studied international relations at the University of Edinburgh. In 2022, Yara was back in Gaza, where she covered the Israeli bombardment of the Strip as a war journalist for Ain media agency. A year later, Yara would tragically lose at least 60 members of her family who were all killed as a result of Israel's bombardment of the Gaza Strip, which began following the Hamas-led attack on Israel on the 7th of October. In this Real Talk episode, we sat down with Yara for a difficult conversation about the tragedy of those losses. Yara, if you can walk me through what the last 6 weeks have been like for you.
Honestly, I don't know where to start. I've been through a lot in my life. I've lived through 4 aggressions in Gaza. I've seen people being killed in front of my eyes, but this aggression, this genocide, is something I've never ever imagined it will be like this bad or this horrific. I never imagined that I would lose my home in a month. In a matter of a month, I would lose everything. I feel like in the last 6 weeks, I've lost everything, Mohammed, everything. I've lost family, I've lost my home, I've lost my city, I've lost my best friend, I've lost my boss, my mentor. I've lost 60 members of my family. My uncle Assam that I grew up living with my whole life, they used to live, downstairs from us. I've lost my aunt and her whole family. I don't know, I'm not processing.
Yeah.
I'm telling you words, I don't know what they mean. Yeah. And
I mean, look, firstly, Yara, I highly appreciate you taking the time to speak to us during this horrific time for you and for so many others. But we could actually,
let's sit down.
Yeah, let's sit down. It would be better. Let me walk you to the dining table. So if we just have a seat. Here, have a seat, Yara. Yara, before we just came to sit, we were talking about the lasting impact, about all these things, surviving these bombardments, becoming a war journalist at such a young age.
Yeah, I spent the last 7 years trying to get over my PTSD. I genuinely was in therapy. I was trying to get over what I've seen in 2014. I never, I felt like, I don't know, I didn't ever imagine something so horrific. And covering the 2022, I saw things, but I never imagined it will be a whole genocide. I never imagined that, more than 20,000 people from my people, half of my family, to be killed just in 6 weeks, So it feels like, I was telling my friend, it feels like all of my trauma treatment, it's gone, It feels like I have to start from zero. And I'm not it's not about me, it's about the children of Gaza. I spent 7 years trying to get over my PTSD, and I had the privilege of getting medical treatment. I had the therapist, I had all of this,
Because you've been living in the UK.
Yeah, and it's just, I've been able to do it. And kids in Gaza, it's just, for me, it's so difficult to imagine. For example, my cousin's daughter, Hala, she lost her whole family. Both of her parents, which is my cousin Samah and her husband, her grandparents, both of them, her 3 sisters, her only siblings, the 3 siblings she had, and her aunts, her uncles, almost her whole family completely obliterated. She was the only survivor because she was out of the house to go get medicine with one of her uncles. They were the only survivors from my uncle Assam's family. And I think about this girl. I'm just like, what future will this girl have? What kind of PTSD will she suffer from? What we witnessed in the last 6 weeks is beyond any war, beyond any aggression we've seen, beyond anything. Like, do you understand? Children being, their limbs being cut off without anesthesia, without the things they're going through. Me, I'm 23 years old, you know, I'm still young. What I've seen, I have nightmares every single day, and I'm not even there. I'm witnessing it secondhand. I can't imagine what the children, you know, not just everyone, of course, but children break my heart, because I love children. I am, you know, in my free time, I would babysit my cousins. I've never experienced loss till last year when my dad passed away. That was the first close loss I've experienced. And he died young. He was only 55, you know, and suddenly he just got a stroke and died. And I spent the last, you know, year and a half trying to navigate that loss. It felt like my whole world ended. It felt like I've lost everything. He's my father, you know. I never imagined I would lose half of my dad's kind of, like, two whole homes completely gone. You know, my whole aunt's family is gone. My whole, like, Uncle Essam family, they're gone also. It's my cousins, it's people I grew up with, you know, for 16 years that I lived in Gaza. I used to see them every single day. Every Eid we celebrated together. Like, I have so many memories with them. I remember with I don't know, like, so for people, they just, the media has always dehumanized us Palestinians. Yeah. We become just numbers, but we're not, you know. The 60 family members I lost, every single one of them had a name, had a dream, had a life, meant so much to me. And then, you know, all of the 20,000 people, somehow we know each other, somehow all of these 20,000 people meant something to me, you know, because in Gaza it's super small, you know, and it's like in my camp, you know, I grew up in Al Burej camp, and in my camp, literally everyone knows everyone. Everyone knows me as the daughter of Mohamed Eid, you know, everyone knows.
And that is the sense that you get from Palestinians from Gaza anyway. When you speak to Palestinians from Gaza, you know, the families know each other. There's always someone that knows someone.
Exactly. So the 20,000, I knew every single one of them was related to me somehow. Either a friend of a friend or a daughter of a mother that's friends with my mom. Like, you know, we're all connected because Gaza is so small and we have this sense of community. We've been under blockade for 17 years. And I knew everyone in my neighborhood, you know, like, for example, the grocery guy, he wasn't just the grocery guy. Like, I know him. I went there every day. I would talk to them. They're my friends, you know. They would see me. They're like, oh, Yara, how are you? You know, when I would travel and come back, they would, you know, give me gifts and, like, extra fruits. Or Ammu Abu Saeed, who sells falafel, I would go to his, to the falafel shop he has. Every time, the first thing I do in Gaza, I go to eat falafel from his place, and he's like, oh, we missed you, and he'd give me, like, you know, the best falafel he made, like special sandwiches for Yara. Everyone knows everyone in Gaza.
I mean, speaking of friends, I mean, you know, one person that you speak about quite a bit is Ibrahim Lafi, and he's he was one of your best friends, if not your best friend, and he was tragically killed while carrying his duties as a journalist.
Ibrahim was the first one I lost in this genocide. Ibrahim was killed on the 7th of October. I talked to him on the 6th of October at night. I was joking with him, and I told him, I'll call you tomorrow because I'm very tired, I need to sleep, I had work. And I don't know what to tell you about Ibrahim. He was 21. Ibrahim became my friend from the first day. I kind of went to Gaza. Like after I think a month, I started interning at Eid Media.
You speak quite well of his journalism. I mean, you talked that he was quite a
Yeah,
talented
yeah,
journalist.
but that's how I met him. You know, I met him in the beginning, just when I was interning at Eid Media, and I met him on the first day, and I was surprised. I was like, you know, he's 2 years younger than me, and I was like so surprised that he's already like, you know, an employee, and he's so talented, and he's a photographer, he's a journalist. Like, I was so surprised. I was like, I used to think I'm the youngest one in any office I'm in, and he was the youngest one, and he was so talented. And day by day, he wasn't just a colleague, he became my best friend. Literally, like the person I would call when I'm mad, the person I would call when I'm sad, the person I would call when I'm happy, the person I would share the stupidest details with. I wrote a tribute to him, and I said, Israel killed all of my friends, because Ibrahim felt like all of my friends. He was literally, I don't know, he made me feel like I had 100 friends by my side at all times. We covered the 2022 war, aggression, you know, and
any memories from that together?
Yeah, he was. I'm sorry, it's very difficult to talk about it. Just before, when we were interning together, he made sure that, for example, I didn't have experience in, you know, photography, filmmaking. That's what I started to intern as. And whenever we would be on set or something, he always made sure he's teaching me. He was so sweet. He's always made sure like he passes his knowledge to me. And he always made sure that, like...
Even though he was the younger one.
He was the younger one, but he had so much knowledge in this field. I was new to it. He has been doing it he even studied media, you know. So he was like with photography and stuff, because I wanted to be a filmmaker, and I started like, you know, I haven't had practical experience, you know. The only experience I had was like more like writing and directing, but not actually using the cameras and stuff like that. And he used to like be like, okay, I'll give you lessons. After this set, we go and we study for 2 hours. And he would give me homework, and he was like, he was my secret mentor. He always made sure, even he was the youngest, he felt like the father of the group. And he always made sure that to look after us. But yeah, he was so young though. He had so many dreams, you know. We keep talking about how he's gonna visit me in London. He's never traveled from Gaza. We always talked about how we're gonna be a team, me and him. I'm gonna be the reporter, he's the cameraman. He told me we're gonna report on every aggression together, even work in like conflict zones together, everything, you know. We were gonna be a team.
Yeah, I'm incredibly sorry for your loss, Yara. I mean, do you feel like you've had the chance to grieve?
No.
No.
After Ibrahim was killed, my 2 colleagues have been missing since October 7th. Yeah. We don't know anything about them, Haitham and Nidal. Yeah. And then a few weeks later, my boss gets killed. My boss, Rushdie Sarraj. Yeah. He was literally the best boss I've ever had. He was so talented. He saw Gaza from a different viewpoint. He always like saw the beauty, you know. The thing is, Rushdie was compelled to become a journalist. Him and Yasser Murtaja. Me and Ibrahim were compelled to become journalists. We didn't want to be journalists. Ibrahim wanted to be a photographer.
You've said this, that you've become a journalist out of necessity.
Yeah, you know, I hate politics. I didn't want to study international relations and politics. I wanted, I don't know, I don't know what I would be in a parallel universe, because my whole life has been about Palestine. My whole life has been about occupation. My whole life has been about killing and imprisonment and blockade and suffering. And yes, there were many beautiful times in my life. But it's everything. Everything I'm doing is because I'm Palestinian. Everything I'm doing in my life, my career, my dreams, my wishes, everything revolves about being born in Gaza under occupation.
What has been communication with your family like? I mean, we've spoken about the family members that you've tragically lost. What about the family members that are still alive and are still in Gaza?
My mother, who's my whole world, my best friend, the closest person to me in life, literally. I used to call my mom every single day. Since, I've never spent a day without talking to her, When I was in Gaza, I lived with her, of course, with my family, so I saw her every single day. I talked to her every single day. I would come from school. I would tell her every single thing that happened with me in school. And she would eagerly listen, and her and my father. And we would sit at the dinner table and share our dreams and what me and Firas, my only brother, want to do. And when I left at 16, my mom was devastated, She never wanted me to leave. It was the hardest decision I've ever had to make. And since then, I promise Mohammed, I've been calling her every single day. Not one single day that passed without me saying good morning or good night to my mother. And in the media blackout, there were days where I couldn't hear from my mom for more than 2 days. I didn't know anything about her.
That must have been horrific.
If she was alive or not, the only way I could know is by checking the names of the martyrs. For the last, 50 days, I haven't had a daughter and mom conversation. We haven't been able to talk. I miss her so much, and every single day, wallahi, every single day I'm so scared of losing her, and I'm in denial that anything could happen to her, but no one is safe in Gaza. My mom wanted to go back to our home in the city to get her certificates, her important documents.
They're not allowing people to go.
No, they're not. And she's like, I have journals there, I have memories, I have gifts from my father. We don't know if the house is still standing or not. Nothing. We know nothing. The whole neighborhood has been destroyed, so we don't know if there are still remaining stuff. And the thing is, with this fake ceasefire, I've been able to just sleep for the first time in 50 days. Just sleep for more than 4 hours, And it's because I'm not frantically checking the news to see if my mom is still alive or not, but I am so terrified of the next few days. When this fake ceasefire stops, what's going to happen? Am I going to lose more people? Every single minute I was losing colleagues, family members, friends. I'm talking about, I swear, I'm not talking about 20,000 numbers. I think people cannot comprehend that these people, I swear, I grew up with them. I know them. They're my closest friends and family. Those days where I couldn't hear my mom's voice, or not just hear her voice, just I used to be able to talk to her through international calls. So I would, without a video, without anything. Imagine for for more than a month, I didn't see her face because she didn't have internet, didn't have anything. And some days I wouldn't hear if she's alive or not, and I would just be literally shaking the whole day, not able to do anything, just crying, asking, praying that she's alive. And those were the most difficult days of my entire life. I've never imagined that I would try to sleep without hearing her voice. She told me when I first called her for the first time after the media blackout, I didn't talk to her for 2 days. When I called her, she broke down in tears, and she told me, I swear to God, if they cut water and electricity, it's okay. But not making me able to speak to you or your brother is a different genocide. It's another torture. She was like, you were giving me strength. You were giving me, you're the reason why I'm still able to survive this, And they're even stealing that from us. They're stealing the fact that we check to see who's still alive from our family or not.
Yeah. Yara, I saw a video of you a few years back when you were 18. I think it you embarking to study international relations, and you said something that, struck me. You said that you wanted to be, your dream is to be an ambassador for peace. I mean, obviously this was you when you were 18, you're 23 now, but does that message still resonate? Do you still see the, do you still believe the same thing that 18-year-old girl believed then? No,
I don't, because we're seeing that all the things I've studied about international law and war crimes, and how, we have the International Criminal Court, and how everything I studied, like international law for me right now seems useless. International law is only applied to whoever they want it to be applied for, They pick and choose. It's not what I studied. It's not universal human rights. I studied human rights since I was in grade 1, But human rights of Palestinians don't matter. Human rights of children in Palestine don't matter. Gaza doesn't matter. So it's all slogans. It's just empty words. So for me to benefit my country, to do something, to end the occupation, I chose to be a journalist, because I will cover and convey the truth, and I will try my best to just share what's happening on the ground in Gaza, share stories, personal stories, honor the legacies of my journalist colleagues, honor the stories of people who have been killed. They will live within us forever. And, I wish, Mohammed, I wish I'm making films about love in Gaza. I wish I'm making films about the sea in Gaza, about the beauty of having lunch in Eid, about our festivals, about our celebrations, about just the beauty of Gaza, And this is why I joined Rushdie Sarraj, Ain Media, and Ibrahim. We all had this. We wanted to show the world what it means to be a Gazan, what it means to be a Palestinian, the beauty that we find despite everything. Gaza has been under blockade for 17 years with many aggressions on them, but people are they're so warm, they're so kind, they're so hopeful, they're so resilient. I want to show the world what it means to be a Palestinian. I want to show them the beauty among all of this destruction. And I wish I'm here telling you about the love stories I heard in Gaza. I wish I'm here telling you about the dreams of Palestinian children, instead of telling you that 8,000 of them have been killed. I wish I've never had to work as a journalist to report on the genocide of my people.
Well, this actually takes me to my last question, Yara. I mean, what do you miss the most about Gaza?
Oh my God, Mohammed. This is a really difficult question.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Miss everything. Absolutely everything. Compared to people in Gaza, I've traveled a lot. I've seen the world. I swear, Muhammad, not because it's my home, not because it's Gaza where I grew up. No. So many people go to Gaza and they say it's one of the most beautiful places on earth. My mom, she thinks Gaza is like the most beautiful city in the world. And this is just my mom. I tell you, so many Palestinians in Gaza think the same thing. Because despite everything we've seen, our beauty with our family connections, with our food, our culture, our smiles, I swear, before this genocide, Gaza was still under blockade. There were many aggressions and stuff, and I swear to God, I've never been happier than being at home. I miss going to the beach with my brother and family, and my brother playing oud and we're singing all together. I miss my mom's cooking when she has big dinner parties with my other family or with my friends. I miss my intellectual talks with my close friends, us being in a cafe with our friend, the owner of the cafe. I miss the restaurants, I miss the bookshops I used to go to since I was a little girl. I miss my room, I miss everything. I really never wanted to leave Gaza. I swear. I wanted to live there for my whole life, but I realized that I will convey my message more if I learn English, if I get an education, if I try to get a better life for my family and myself, and if I can convey the truth to the world. And that's why I left, you know. I miss my family. I miss Ibrahim. I miss him calling me and making jokes, you know. Like this aggression is not like any other thing, you know. They've removed Gaza. They've destroyed everything. Every single memory we had, you know. All of my memories in this supermarket, it's gone, you know. This supermarket wasn't just a supermarket, you know. It's where me and my dad went at late night to surprise my mom with her favorite snack, or me and Ibrahim who would go there to buy the snacks for our friends, or for example the restaurants where we celebrated my birthday, or the cafe that I used to go with my friends every single day for literally like a year. We would go almost every single day at the end of the day at the beach. They think Palestinians got used to it because it's been years and years of occupation and ethnic cleansing. We will never get used to the sound of bombs. You know, till now, I've left Gaza 7 years ago. Till now, when I hear a sound of a plane, I duck. I think, and I'm a war journalist, you know? I think they're gonna bomb me. Till now, like all of us, the scars we carry within us, even if we survive this, these people who survived this, we have scars forever. The trauma will be passed from generation to generation.
Final words?
You know, the Palestinian cause is not a cause for Palestinians only. It's a cause for every single person who believes in freedom, who believes in human rights, who believes in love. It's a cause for any human with any human feelings. And I really hope that for whoever watching this, whoever is seeing this genocide, please don't stop talking about us. Please don't get fatigued. Please, this is real people, real life. This is our homes that they're trying to force us from. This is, you know, this is my whole world. This is my whole family, this is my whole friends, this is my entire world. And you know, the world wants you to think you're helpless, you can't do anything, but there is so much you can do. You are so powerful as a human. You're a human. You have so much power. You can protest, you can keep boycotting, you can keep talking about Palestine. This is not where you stop. They want to distract you with a 4-day stopping of the bombardment. They want to take the momentum away from the people, but we want you to keep fighting for us. We want you to keep talking about Palestine. We want you to keep talking about Ibrahim Lafi, even that he was killed. We want you to keep talking about the children, the 8,000 children. We want you to hear their names, learn about their stories. You might feel helpless, you might feel like you didn't change anything, but we are changing something. And that's why I am not giving up despite everything. I am still working every single day, and I'm doing my job as a journalist, and I'm not even allowed to grieve those who I lost. I have to report, I have to keep working because I cannot afford to lose more people. So please, please keep talking about what's happening and never stop till it's a free Palestine.
Yeah, I listen, I appreciate you taking this time, and it's so horrific and it's so difficult, and I hope that you're reunited with your mother and family and friends very soon, and thank you for coming on.